idea. I'd thought my whole life that being successful as a business person was the answer, until I got to be successful as a business person and realised there's not much at the top. There's nothing there. Yet when I found this love, it was overwhelmingly beautiful and worth everything that I had.
Well, welcome everybody to another Mindful Monday, and I hope you are ready for heart, surrender, and spiritual discovery because I have an incredible guest for you today. Vishrant is a contemporary mystic and enlightened spiritual teacher from Australia. Having gone from publishing tycoon to spiritual seeker, his calling now is to guide others into higher consciousness through heart, surrender, and direct experience. Vishrant, welcome to Mindful Mondays.
Thank you,
Thank you
Laura.
for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, pleasure to have you. So that's quite the journey or the change to go from a publishing tycoon to a mystic and seeker. Can you tell us a little bit about, in your spiritual enlightenment, can you tell us a little bit about that journey and what was a moment that made that shift for you?
I had retired 2 years before. I retired when I was, I think, 28, and I was a successful publisher. I didn't have to work anymore, and I took an adventure out to sea with my partner to the Abrolhos Islands, which are off Australia. And during that journey, which was in a very small boat, a cyclone came in and we got lost at sea. And I thought we were going to drown. I thought we weren't going to make it. As a matter of fact, I was positive we were going to die because the weather was just atrocious. We were being hit by huge waves and we were out there for 18 hours. And during that period, I looked across the boat in the water because we were both in the water. The boat had filled out with water, and we were both still inside the boat, but full of water. And I looked across at my partner, and this huge amount of regret started to appear inside of me because I realised that by taking her out there, I'd cost her her life because she was going to die. I was going to die too. Mm. And I looked at her, and this overwhelming love appeared out of nowhere. And I realized that this was something I hadn't really experienced before. This overwhelming love, this love for no reason, this beautiful, beautiful feeling. And I decided to investigate it after I did get rescued, because I was rescued at 2 o'clock in the morning by an oil tanker. They found us. Wow. And I decided that it was time to have a closer look at what I was feeling. And so I went on a retreat in Italy with a fellow for 5 months. And during that period, I started to realize that as a businessman, I was so armored, so protected, so defended that I couldn't experience heart. And it broke my heart that I actually was bankrupt, not financially, but of love. And I decided then and there that I wanted to find love. And I've decided it to such a degree that I walked into my companies and gave my companies to my staff, everything, including 14 offices of furniture, and left broke. And then took my shoes off and commenced to walk around Australia for 4 years to look for my heart. And I did find my heart. I did find this unconditional love. And it is the most beautiful thing. It was better than any properties I owned or any cars I owned or any money I had in the bank. It was just so beautiful. But I had to take my armor off. I had to become a nobody again, going nowhere, because I'd become such a big somebody, being successful at a very young age. Everyone wanted to be me, but I realized I was broke. So I went on this adventure, walking around Australia barefoot as a bum, basically as a bum, to become a nobody going nowhere. And I did. And I found heart.
Yeah, and that is incredible, and that's not an easy, not I would say probably not an easy choice to make. The fact that you just gave up everything, but that's like you said, when you can find that hard is to give everything. You had to go back to being broke. Um, that's quite remarkable, actually.
Well, it's a jump. And I've always been a
Yeah.
bit of a jumper. I've taken the risk. Victory favours the bold. It's simple.
No, and I love that because I think, well, I don't know about Australia, but and you said we were talking a little bit before. You're used to the U.S. as well, and I think it's everywhere. We get stuck in what I call a rat race and doing everything that we think we're supposed to be doing and working and working and working, and it becomes so automatic and business, and just like you said, there's no heart in it anymore. A lot of the
No.
businesses and stuff, the way they function, there's no heart because it's not about heart or people, it's about a bottom line.
Dollars.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea. I'd thought my whole life that being successful as a business person was the answer until I got to be successful as a business person and realised there's not much at the top. There's nothing there. Yet when I found this love, it was overwhelmingly beautiful and worth everything that I had. And so I don't have I never had a regret.
No, this is correct. And like you said, I mean, you thought you were going to die, and that seems to be when a lot of people get an awakening, is more of when something tragic happens or they come close to death. Um, do you notice that a lot with people, or are you more like on a mission to help people find their heart before that happens?
Hopefully before that happens. But I mean, tragedy can bring people into that understanding, but it's not a requirement, really.
Right.
Some people have found heart. I just became a businessman and I studied the art of war by Sun Tzu, and I run my companies like the art of war. And I'd become such a hard ass that I couldn't find heart.
Yeah. Wow. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as you transitioned into your life of dedicated spiritual exploration?
I had to leave all my friends because they wanted to rescue me. I had friends offering me hundreds of thousands of dollars to go back into business because they thought that I'd lost my money financially somehow. And that hadn't happened. I actually gave it up. I gave it all up because I wanted to adventure towards heart. And so I had to leave my home in West Australia and travel around Australia by myself because there was too many people who wanted to take care of me. And I didn't want to be taken care of. I wanted to find my heart. And
Right.
so that was a big trip, just leaving everyone behind and becoming alone, completely alone for 4 years. And I ended up in soup kitchens. I ended up sometimes eating at McDonald's someone else's meal that had been left there. I became a total beggar because I had to kill the huge amount of pride I had in myself because it was in the way. It was in the way of my heart. And so I got rid of that too. And
Now you said you did this trek by yourself, so you lost your partner then along the way too.
My partner at the time, I didn't have one.
Okay.
At that time, I did not have a partner, no. I was free, and that was good. No one was abandoned.
Okay. Well, because you mentioned you and your partner were out on the ship and stuff, and you thought she had died. So
Yeah,
I apologize. I thought maybe.
no, there was a distance between that event. I actually had gone on retreat for 5 months, and during that period we'd broken up. So I was free. And by the time the retreat finished, I realized that I wanted to find my heart. And I realized that to do that, I had to change. I had to change Vishrant, because he was not fit for heart. He was fit for war.
Yeah. And did you find, like, even though you were successful and stuff before, did in this journey, did you find that you really weren't truly happy even though you were successful and you had it all?
I thought I was happy, but that was because I'd never experienced unconditional love, and I didn't know what I was missing. I thought I was happy because everybody wanted to be me. I was young and successful, and I was on the top of the pile, and I was a bit of a party animal. But it was time. It was time to get into something that was real rather than something that was false. And as a businessman, I'd built a false persona for me to live in, and I just didn't like it. I just decided that it would have been better for me to find heart and lose everything than keep everything and have no heart. And so that was the deal I made with myself. And I did this adventure. I was 33 years old, I think, or something like that, when I took off, or something like that. It was good. It was the best thing I ever did. I never, ever had a regret. And I met so many people on the way, on the road to nowhere.
Yeah, I would imagine that's got to be an adventure. All the different people and situations. I'm sure you came across many.
Yeah. Well,
What did you feel you kind of discovered along the way?
well, what I discovered is that you can't just find heart. Heart is what you do in the world. And so I realized at some point that I had to go into service in helping people or animals or plants or anything but me. And so I started going into service. I had been trained as a masseur. I used to do deep tissue massage because I loved it. And I just started giving people free massages, just as service, as helping people. And before I knew it, I was running groups and I was helping people. And it made my heart sing to help people, what I called manageable happiness. Because as long as I was doing that, I felt really happy. And that led to me going back to university and training as a psychotherapist and as a naturopath so I could have some skills to help people with. And I did.
Nice. So you mentioned that, and I love that with the thing, and I have to agree with you, because when I have had the time to go do things and just, help people out, like, we have food come in and help distribute it to people that can't get away. It's just time and effort, but it makes such a difference in people's lives, and it's kind of an undescribable feeling, but you just kind of feel really good. It helps you feel lighter that, you were able to help do something and help somebody else.
I decided that it was a way of life, that
Yeah.
the way of the heart was actually a way of life. And in Buddhism, they call it the noble path. You go into service of others and you help people. And I just loved it. It just lit me up to help people. And I'd become a giver instead of a taker. Because as a businessman, I appeared to be a giver, but really I was a taker. I was just very sneaky at it.
Yeah, there are some of them out there that way. Yes. Um, but so you did some of the training in the naturopath. So what did you learn and venture into? What did you decide to learn? Because there's so many different modalities, so many things you can do out there.
Yeah.
Um, what did you focus on to help people?
Well, I did a naturopathy course, and at the same time at university, and at the same time did a psychotherapy course so I could actually help people with their problems as a counsellor. Because a part of naturopathy was counselling, but I decided that the counselling course I did with naturopathy wasn't good enough, and so I went and did a 3-year psychotherapy course, just to give me a better handle on how it all works, how the mind ticks, and how I can actually help people undo their problems. And I loved it. It was a love affair with what I was doing.
And it shows, and you can tell. I always say, when people are doing what they are truly meant to do or what they love to do, they light up, and you can see how pleasant and happy you are. So I would say you definitely found your path
Oh,
in your
yes.
work.
Well, it's my
Yeah,
joy. It's my joy. It's my joy to say hello to you. You see, we don't
yeah.
know each other, but I can't help it. I already love you.
Oh, see, yeah, I know. Same here. As and we call it energy, vibration, frequency, but there's just certain people that it's just, yeah. I love that. But see, you talk about, I know, higher consciousness too. How would you define higher consciousness?
Okay, so what I started to do when I was 14 was watch my mind. And yeah, I watched it from a silent place inside myself that didn't have judgments in it. And I just started witnessing it. And what that effectively did, it had allowed me to see how I was operating, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. And it allowed me to remove the bad. Because if you can see what the problems are, you can remove them. And in witnessing the mind, I developed a program of removing everything that was not working properly. And so my consciousness levels started going up. And as my consciousness levels started going up, as I was seeing more and more and more about myself and removing more and more and more in myself, I could see that everybody else was the same. Everybody's running the same deal. And this is consciousness risen, sees the consequences of everything that is said, everything that is done. First of all in yourself, and then in everybody else around you. And I believe this is what allowed me to be successful in business, because I could see everything. I was switched on. I think this is higher consciousness. Now, that's not the highest of higher consciousness, but it's pretty good.
Right. Wow. Yeah. How would you recommend that individuals begin to access it in their daily lives? Because not many people. The fact that you even knew that, to tap into that when you're 14, it just amazes me, because that's not things that I even started to hear or learn about until much later in life. But
The story on how I learned about that was interesting. I was in a Roman Catholic boarding school, and I was causing trouble at night because there was a whole pile of bullies in the school. And I wasn't a big guy, I was a little guy, but I used to be able to sort them out at night time when they're asleep. Anyway, I never got caught doing that, but they suspected I did it. So they put me in this tower at Aquinas College, my boarding school, for 2 years. And I lived in the tower by myself. And the tower was this huge open space with a huge high roof, and it was totally dark. And as a boy, a 14-year-old, I was terrified. I used to put my hands on my heart, and I used to hold my heart at night time so I could go to sleep. And while I was doing that one night, I just started watching my mind. I just started witnessing it. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know I was doing a spiritual practice to raise my consciousness levels. But that's what I started to do. And I was just fascinated by what I saw. I was fascinated by what a liar I was. I was so full of it. And it was just an adventure, an inward adventure, to keep watching my own mind. And I developed the pattern of watching my own mind, which allowed me to change, raise my consciousness levels, get into higher consciousness. So it was an accident
wow.
that was brought about through a punishment.
I was going to say a punishment, because you were kind of forced to be by yourself. Because we're in a very fast-paced world, and everything's normally always busy, noise, 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 and it's very tough. I've met a lot of people. Even I struggled myself with trying to quiet all of the what I'm supposed to do for just to kind of like meditate or to, just to find that quiet. So, what do you suggest for people to do? Is there a practice or tips that you can give them of how to
Well,
shut that noise out?
you did mention something else. You mentioned meditate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're present to what is real, and everything you see is real, and everything you hear is real, and everything you feel is real, and everything you smell is real, and everything you taste is real, if you're present to what is real, rather than present to what you're thinking, you're in meditation. And my life at Aquinas College, because it was such a violent environment, I was very present all the time. And so I did not know this, but I was practicing meditation when I was at school because I was being ambiently present to everything around me the whole time because the chances of getting beaten up were reasonably high. Because I was locked in a boarding school with 800 kids and I was an outsider because my parents lived in the city and they all lived in the country. And so I was already an outsider at Aquinas. And so I had troubles on my hands. And to survive it, I got extremely present, ambiently present. And not long after I got to school, one of the teachers noticed I was being bullied, and he turned out to be a kung fu teacher. And he taught me kung fu. I ended up training in kung fu for 14 years. But what that did is it allowed me to be extremely present while in action. And being present while in action is brilliant. It sets you up for a successful life because you're not lost in dream in your head. People think that this is great. It's not great to live in your head. It's kind of dead. It's great to live in reality. And what you see is real, what you hear is real, but everything else, everything you think is dream. It's not real.
Yeah.
And so I abandoned dream when I was quite young and have been present ever since to what is real. And I love reality. People say I'm a spiritual teacher. I don't think so. I'm a reality teacher. I teach people how to be real.
No, I like that too. And I love the way you describe that because most people, when you talk about meditation, you think meditation, they automatically assume, oh, you're in the quiet and you're dark. And sometimes it is good. I mean, guided meditations I can do, but like you, I guess that's kind of actually what I've, been doing with present. Cause when I feel that I need to go outside and I watch, I just pay attention to everything that's around me, the birds, the trees, the critters, just everything is kind of where I kind of focus on. Um, that's always found helpful, but it doesn't mean you're in a deep trance or not, but it's a meditation for me. It just helps calm and make me happy.
I developed a practice that I called walking in Zen. And I'd be walking along a beachfront or the edge of a river, and I'd be watching my breath and I'd be watching my footfalls. In other words, how my feet were landing on the ground. I'd be feeling the wind against my face if it was there. I'd be feeling the sun against my face if it was there. And when I was that present to the sounds, my footfalls, my breath, I couldn't think. And so I called it walking in Zen. I was actually just present to what was real. And I loved it. I did a great deal of that, even as a boy. I just loved being present to reality. I had motivation. It was too dangerous to be a dreamer when I was at school.
Right. No, I love that. I like walking in Zen. I'll have to remember that. I like that. But yeah. And I know you focus a lot on the concepts and to me it's important. I've always considered myself a very heartfelt person, and I always like the term like-hearted rather than like-minded, but you emphasize the concepts of heart and surrender. How can someone cultivate these qualities, especially in our fast-paced world that we have?
Okay, so if you don't want to suffer in this life, you accept life as it is and you let things go. Now, if you want to suffer, you resist life. It's pretty simple. And most people resist life and suffer. But that's because they don't realize what they're actually doing. The key to having a happy life is accepting life as it is and letting things go. And people think, well, if I accept life as it is, nothing will change. I'll become ineffective. No, that's not true. I'm a living example of that not being true. I was super successful in business, and I was into acceptance, and I was into letting things go. So there you go. In a nutshell, that's it. Acceptance.
And I think that's a big important part too, is letting things go. Because
Yep.
I am guilty. When I was younger, I used to hang on to things or vent, and I used to think that me talking about it all the time was venting. It's like it wasn't venting. I was just reliving everything. It's like nope. Now I've just learned those energies do not serve me, and I just let things go. But
Yeah.
that's not always an easy task for people.
Well, that's not how we were programmed. We were programmed to hang on to everything biologically, be attached to everything and offer resistance to everything. And unfortunately, in today's climate, we've been programmed to be victims of everything. In other words, blaming other people, blaming the world, blaming this, blaming that, always in this blame mode. And that just hurts us. Every time we go into a blame mode, we hurt ourselves. And so dropping victim-orientated thinking is very important also, if you can do it. We weren't born as victims, but we were programmed as victims. The moment we started watching television, the news is victim-orientated. The movies are victim-orientated. Everything's victim-orientated. And so you won't meet too many people in the world who aren't victim-orientated to some degree. But if you really look at it, it's how we cause suffering for ourselves. When we turn ourselves into a victim of anything, when we start blaming, we're in resistance to life. That's when we start suffering. And
That's true.
I just refuse to suffer. Full stop.
Yeah, been there, done that. No, and that's a good point too. I like that. That's a very good point, because that's what we do. We go in victim mode. There's a lot of things that I think one of the books that I had read Jack Canfield, one of his first principles was take 100% responsibility for what you've done, because we all had a choice. You can choose to or not to. It's still a choice. You have the choice to put yourself in that position or to walk away. You played a part in it, in other words, in some way or form. You should acknowledge it.
I'll go one step further. Take responsibility that you make yourself feel that nobody else can make you feel but you.
That is very true.
Yeah. So nobody can make me feel but me, because I'm responsible for my feelings. If I start blaming other people for how I feel, I'm being irresponsible. I'm actually being immature.
Yeah. Very, very good point. Very good point.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I do. I love that. It's simple things, and it's things that we kind of actually know, but it's like we get in this whole automatic victim mode, whatever stereotype. You just get in this whole thing, and from some of the studies that I've seen or read about, it's mostly because the negativity. We're bombarded with it constantly, and it doesn't take much thought for our brain to go that way. It takes more thought and conscious effort to be positive and to look at things differently. And I guess since you can say a lot of us are inherently lazy, we don't put in that effort to be, on the positive side.
I think people are naturally buoyant, but the negativity sinks them. I think human beings are naturally buoyant, but negative thinking sinks them.
Yeah, that is a good. Yep, I like that. I like that explanation too. That's good. So you talk about a direct experience. Can you elaborate on what direct experience means in the context of spiritual awakening?
Okay, so
And how to
this
achieve it?
is a completely different subject, because we're talking beyond the mind now. There's something that's aware of the mind, and it's always aware of the mind, but it's never aware of itself. And so this that's aware of the mind can become aware of itself through self-inquiry, for instance, say, like who's aware, asking the question who's aware can take you awareness to becoming aware of itself. And when awareness comes aware of itself, that's a satori. It's a glimpse of reality. It's a glimpse of what we truly are. And what we truly are is nothing like what we think we are. Awareness is our nature. Awareness is our true nature. It's before the mind, but we think we're the mind, and that's a mistake. We are that's aware of the mind, and when we become awareness becomes aware of itself, the mind starts to experience what it truly is, and that's just mind blowing. I experienced myself as the universe, and every particle in it being love. And
That had to be incredible.
that's my current experience also.
No, but that's an incredible one. I've met a number of people that have been able to achieve that and get to that. I don't know what you want to call it, a higher. I'm still learning the terms of that, but I think it's absolutely incredible that when you can get to that level.
That's super consciousness. It's not higher consciousness.
Yeah.
It's beyond consciousness. It's ordinary consciousness. It's super consciousness. Being aware of self as everything. Being aware of self as you. Being aware of self as the room. Being aware of self as the sky. Being aware of self as everything. No separation. But for that to occur, the ego has to be absent, because the ego sees everything as separate from itself. And in Satori, the ego disappears when awareness finds itself. In enlightenment, the ego disappears completely. It's gone. It's gone. So Vishrant left the building 27 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. So for people that are having trouble separating that, is there steps that they can do to separate the ego and
Yeah.
to kind of get rid of it?
Find a teacher who's claiming to be awake. Make sure they are awake by actually checking them out thoroughly, and then hanging out with them, which is what I did. I was a businessman who used to hang out with awake dudes, and I loved it because these guys had an energy field that allowed me to just dissolve in. And I had the money to travel the world, so I just went and hung out with the awake ones. But there's plenty of awake ones in America.
Yeah. Is there an experience during that time that stands out to you that you'd want to share? One in particular?
I interviewed Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh for 41 minutes and back in 1985. And in 1987, a year and a half later, I started finding myself as the universe. I put it down to interviewing him for 41 minutes. He got me somehow.
Wow.
And so it changed my life incredibly, because all of a sudden I found that I wasn't just a human. I was beingness. I was pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure everythingness, and that we all are. And it's not just me. We all are, but we have these avatars that we think we are. The avatar is the body. We think we're the body. We think we're the mind, but it's a thought, not a reality. We're everything. And everybody is already at their final destination. They just don't know it.
So do you still hold retreats then, and to guide and to help teach people, or?
I do indeed. I hold about 5 retreats a year, 3 3-day ones and 2 4-day ones. Yeah. But I also see, I run meetings every day. I except Mondays. I have Mondays off.
Well, it's good you take time off when needed, but that's wonderful. Um,
I do
yeah.
2 meetings, 3 meetings on Tuesdays. And the meetings run
So
for
what
about an hour and a half.
nice. As like a group class or group meetings or online?
Well, a lot of it's online, but I do have people in front of me at the same time. I think last month we had 2.5 million views of my videos, my talks. So people are listening.
That does not
Huh?
that does not surprise me. That does not surprise me. You said everybody wanted to be you before when you were a tycoon, but I would argue that there's a lot of people that would love to be you and where you're at now, because just the whole
Well, that
the whole peace and calm just radiates from you.
brings me to another point. It's the tall poppy syndrome. When I was in business, I managed to become very successful, which meant I became a tall poppy. And the thing about being a tall poppy is everyone else who's not made it tries to pull you down by some way. Maybe by saying, well, you're not honest or something like that. Even tell lies about you to bring you down. Well, the same thing happens in spirituality. You get successful at finding yourself as truth, and you've got all these knockers that just want to pull you down. It's the world we live in.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever find that that's not there, unfortunately. But
Fortunately, I don't care.
I know there you go. That's why I tell people, I'm like, people are either going to resonate with me or they don't, and that's okay, because not everybody's cup of tea. But I think it's important, the work that you're doing, and I love the whole journey that you've been on and how you got there. Do you have a particular practice that you do for yourself every day to keep yourself present and mindful?
I don't need to. I am present. Basically, we develop patterns in our minds. These are called default patterns. And I have a default pattern of being present to reality all the time. I also have a default pattern of being open all the time, which means being vulnerable all the time. These are my two default patterns. One supports the perception of love, the openness one, and the other one
Hmm.
supports the perception of reality, because I'm not dreaming. I'm here. I'm with you. 100%.
Well, and it shows too, and that's absolutely incredible. I love that, because I mean, we all have things we hit, and sometimes it can take us off track. But to have that program and the fact that you've gotten to that point where it's just that's an incredible state to be in, I think.
It's very
But
beautiful to be present. It's just that we went to school and we did 12 years or more learning to live in our heads solving problems. So most human adults around the world live in their heads solving problems, which I see as a form of suffering.
mhm,
And so we were
yeah,
programmed to
definitely.
suffer at school. We weren't programmed for love. We weren't programmed for happiness. We were programmed to suffer, to be efficient little machines so we could fit into the workforce. And I was one of those, but fortunately I got free.
You know, yeah, that's what I always told people. I was always, trying to do what I thought I was supposed to do, and but I'm I'm happy here connecting with people like you, and you know, connecting with others, because I think we can do more together. So it's kind of my happy place
Yeah,
being able to do that.
yeah. You're out there spreading the word, Laura.
Yeah,
This is the way. That's what I
yeah,
do. I'm out spreading the word. What we call in Buddhism the Dharma. I'm teaching people how to be real, how to be happy, how to find love, how to get free. The very things we didn't learn at school.
and the very things we need in this world.
I think so.
Definitely need.
I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling lost on their spiritual journey, or they're unsure of their next steps?
Yeah, you find someone who's not lost and take advice from them. I had teachers, even before I went into business, I had teachers all the time teaching me. I had mentors the whole time. And then when I went into spirituality, I found more mentors, people who were further ahead than me that I'd take advice from. To be arrogant and think you know is a real downer. You're better off being a beginner, always asking the questions, always wanting to learn. And if you find a teacher or someone who's further ahead and you're wanting to learn, they'll help you. If you come across as a know-it-all who already knows everything, they won't help you.
Yep. I would assume you're probably still learning yourself, are you not?
I'm
Because there's a
open.
lot out there.
I'm open.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
open. You know, whatever comes my way, it's okay.
I love that.
Life's an adventure to be lived. I'll give you another one. I like to squeeze the juice out of life.
There you go. Get every drop of it out because you
Every
deserve it.
drop.
Every drop. Every drop. Can you share maybe any transformative experiences that you've witnessed and those that you've guided on their spiritual paths?
Oh, there's so many. It would be hard to talk about it. People have epiphanies all the time, and something goes, wow, and it's lovely. It's very, very beautiful for me to see people going, wow, you know, because they're stepping out of their rigid ways that they've been in for years and finding something different in their life. And so, from my perspective, I live in a wow world where
I like that much better than woo woo. This is a wow.
yeah, wow
Yeah.
world where people are going, wow.
Do you find a lot of it's kind of almost like a light switch or like something just switched or flipped in them?
Usually. But it becomes because they've become willing to look. Most people aren't willing to look because they think they already know. And that's dangerous. In Buddhism, they talk about developing the beginner's mind. And a beginner's mind says, I don't know, show me. And that's the sort of mind that existence will show.
What would you say are the most important steps then? Being open?
Being present, being open, finding yourself someone who can guide you. It's the same in business. If you want to be successful in business, you get someone who's successful in business to guide you, which is exactly what I did. You know, you don't think, oh, you know. You find someone who does know and you get their advice and you become a student. I've been a student my whole life. I love it. In the mystical path, we call that being a seeker. The seeker is a questioner. The seeker is not a believer. The seeker wants to find out for themselves what is real.
Okay. Yeah. I would be one of those because I'm like you. I'm always open. I'm always trying to learn and absorb. I meet so many people across the world, and they're all at different levels, different things. So I always love learning all the different um, modalities, the different consciousness, the way people get that. Because I know there's more out there. I know there's more out there. I'm still in that phase of going, but
Wow.
yeah, the wow, yeah, the wow, the wow.
Yeah.
But so, looking ahead, what vision do you hold for the future of spirituality and consciousness, particularly in our rapidly changing world?
I feel that it's the only chance humanity has is to raise consciousness levels. I think the lower consciousness that we have on this planet at the moment is what's creating wars, it's what's creating starvation, famines, all the bad stuff is created by lower consciousness. In higher consciousness, you just simply don't get into that stuff. You don't. And I think higher consciousness is the only thing that can really save the population of the earth. And so I'm interested in helping people raise their consciousness levels. That's my mission on this planet.
Yep. I love that too. And like you said, it's heart, the more people can find their heart, then I think the less we would have of all the other mess.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, when you love
Yeah.
people, you don't want to hurt them.
No, no, not at all. But so the Vishrant.org, is that the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, that's the best way for people to find me, because there's that website has all the information on it, and on what's going on and what's not going on, and the contact to my manager, whose name's Tosh. Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah. Yep. Tosh is pretty incredible too. Do you do everything, all the work that you're doing? Do you do it in groups and classes? Do you do anything one-on-one with people at all, or
No, I generally talk publicly to people. Yeah.
publicly?
When I trained in psychotherapy, I trained in group therapy. I trained in how to run groups. And my forte is running groups.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense too. And I think we always think we can do more together, but I know sometimes some people are sensitive or do one-to-one, so that's why I was just curious. And you all,
Yeah, not really.
go
No. No. No, that's what I used to do.
Are they small groups? Or are they fairly large groups? Do you do fairly large groups at the same time?
There tend to be small groups, up to about 20, 22 people something like that. But when I do public groups, they're a lot bigger. I do 2 public groups a week, on Friday nights our time, and Tuesday mornings our time, and they're a much bigger group because they've got heaps of people from the internet on them. But when I do my private groups, there's less people, a lot less people. And everybody can put their hand up and talk to me if they want to.
You're very easy to talk to, so I would imagine it's a pretty easy and comfortable situation there. So when you do your retreats, are they all in Australia, or do you travel to do retreats into different areas? Are you traveling still? Because I know you were traveling.
Heck no, I like being here. This is nice here. But I do run the retreats the retreats aren't just here, they're online. And so people can join them online.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
be part
so
of.
you're done traveling, is what you're telling me.
Oh, well, I don't know. Who knows the future?
That is true. That is true.
I don't particularly want to do groups anywhere else, but traveling, I wouldn't mind going back to America.
We wouldn't mind having you either.
It's an adventure.
I for sure would. Yeah. That's okay. If nothing else, I will know to look you up when I go, because I do have planned to go to Australia
Oh,
sometime.
you come and say hello. You'd be very welcome.
I'd be happy to do that.
Very welcome.
Yeah.
My first.
We have about 5. Go ahead.
Sorry, yes?
No, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
My first stop in America was actually Hawaii. And I ended up on Maui, and I just loved it there.
That's exactly where I went to in 2006. I visited Maui because I wanted to visit Hawaii for Hawaii. I didn't want a commercialized state-looking thing. I wanted the more of what I thought Hawaii should be like. So I went to Maui also, and it is beautiful.
Well, I landed in Oahu and lasted a few days. It was too commercial for me. Then went down to Maui.
There you go. We have about 5 minutes left, Vishrant. What do you want to leave everybody with? What do you want them to know?
Well, I would really love people to know that the only thing valuable here is love. And when you get that through your mind, that it's the only thing valuable here is love, you might do something about it. because nobody can do it for you. You actually have to do this journey yourself. And yes, it does take hard work to undo yourself so you can find love, because more than likely you've got a whole pile of things in the way. Obstacles, I call them, that are in the way of love. Anything that creates contraction in you is in the way of love. Anything that creates resistance in you is in the way of love. And so usually these are belief systems about this, that, and the other, and they need to be undone. And that's the work in consciousness growth, undoing belief systems that are in the way. And I started that when I was in my 20s, because I could see that I was quite wounded from my childhood, and I just wanted to get healed because I didn't want to be a wounded bunny. But to heal wounding, I had to feel it first of all so I could heal it, but then I had to stop producing it. And the only way I could stop producing it was to remove the belief systems that supported it. Give you an example. I was abandoned a lot as a child, and so I had a lot of abandonment wounding. And I had a belief system that I shouldn't have been abandoned. Now, I could heal that wounding by allowing myself to feel it eventually, but so I wouldn't top it up again, I had to remove the belief system that I shouldn't be abandoned and actually make it okay to be abandoned. And so that was a fair bit of work in doing that. And that was just one wound, not to mention my rejection wounding and my betrayal wounding and everything else.
I think we all have a lot of wounding. We may not necessarily look at it that way. We just look at it as life experiences, but it's actually kind of wounded us along the way. And like you said, is an important part. Sometimes that includes getting rid of, whether you want to call it the toxic people or the people that are against you in your way. You know, you said you had lost all your friends basically when you went on your journey, but I'm sure you have a whole new world of close people that are close to you now.
I have a wonderful spiritual family. Tosh is part of it.
Yeah.
But we're very close. We're very close.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your incredible journey with us. And I agree. Well, we need more heart in this world and more higher consciousness. I think is the only way we will make changes in this world. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Very welcome, Laura. Very, very welcome.
Thank you. So anyway, as you can see, Vishrant is very easy to talk to, and I really do love your mission. So if you are out there and you are hearing this and you're needing help to find that spiritual awakening, find your higher consciousness, um, you got a good teacher right here. So please connect with him. But I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Mindful Monday. Have a beautiful day, and we will see you next week. Thank you.